Statistics from the Engineers Board of Kenya shows that only 14% of women are engineers in Kenya. Engineer Florah Kamanja is on a mission to change that. This is She Means Business. I am your host, Claire Munde. Hi Flora.
Hi Claire.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Welcome to She Means Business.
Thanks for having me today.
Yeah. Now we want to just understand your career. You are Engineer Florah Kamanja. You are a mechanical engineer and a nuclear engineer. Now we want to understand what prompted you to get into the field of engineering. We know there are not very many women in this field. So take us through your journey. What prompted you to get into engineering and what has that been like?
Thanks Claire for that question. Let me surprise you. Growing up, I wanted to be a doctor. I was a smart kid. I performed well in sciences and maths. So I knew I would either be a doctor or an engineer. My parents were not educated. They did not get any formal education. So they really pushed us hard to excel in our studies. My brother, the one I follow, excelled in his studies, and he really inspired me and mentored me, so I followed in his footsteps. He ended up becoming an engineer just like me. In high school, teachers also mentored me and they saw the potential in me. I was good in sciences, I was good in maths, I was good in leadership because being good and a top performing student came with other goodies like leadership. Yeah, so I was a school prefect, I was a dining hall captain. At some point I was the head girl of the school, so I gained a lot of leadership experience from a very young age. So after I completed my fourth form, I did KCSE. And unfortunately, I missed medicine by 1 mark, so I went for the next best, which was engineering. So I went to university to pursue mechanical engineering. When I started my studies at the university, what shocked me was in a class of 45 students, there are only 2 ladies. You can imagine that environment where you feel out of place, but our seniors, our senior students really mentored us and the lecturers as well to be able to navigate and actually complete the engineering course. So I ended up becoming a mechanical engineer. Then after that, I pursued mechanical engineering. I also pursued a managerial course on business, in business administration, and I specialized in finance management. So looking at my journey and where I am today, mentors have really played a key role throughout my career.
Awesome. Now I'd like us to talk about 2 things you've talked about. You pursuing that further education in finance, that aspect, moving away from engineering. Do you feel like that was important to get a broader perspective? And was that really targeted towards leadership? Because sometimes they say, you know, you can be really good, a good specialist, but then when it comes to overall leadership, then it becomes a problem. So you'll speak to us a little bit about that. And then that element of mentorship, you've talked about it from the most basic level, from your parents, your brother, and other people. How do you go about getting the right mentors? Because as you said, you're one of 2 ladies in your class who was doing engineering. So how do you go about getting the right mentorship when you're growing in your career? So you can speak about those 2 elements.
Okay, thanks Claire. So engineering course is highly technical, and the management courses that are taught are not very many. So as an engineer who aspires to be a leader, then you have to equip yourself with managerial and leadership skills. So this is where masters in business administration or other leadership related courses come in. And why I chose finance management, it's because finance management is a combination of both, it equips you with both leadership skills as well as finance management skills. As an energy planner, as a project appraisal expert, working for Kengen, I needed the finance skills to help me appraise projects. So when you're appraising projects, you look at a project from a technical perspective and also a financial and economic perspective, besides other elements that you look at. But financial and economic analysis, you want to know, is this project financially viable? Am I going to make profit from this project? How much am I going to charge when I'm selling this product? If it is power that you're selling, what is the tariff you're going to charge to make a return and still ensure that this power is affordable to the common mwananchi? So as a leader, as a manager, as a supervisor, as a project planner, then you need to have a general understanding of leadership, managerial, financial, environmental, all these disciplines. You need to have a general understanding, but of course, since your expertise is engineering, then you have to have depth when it comes to understanding. You have to have competence in your area of expertise. But a general understanding of all these other disciplines then will help you become a better leader and a better manager. Then talking of mentorship, yes, it's not easy to get mentors, but do you know, Claire, anyone can be a mentor. Even your sibling can be a mentor. Your son, your daughter, your father, your mother, your pastor, your peers. So it's up to you to really associate yourself with mentors and identify those mentors. And mentors can also be role models. I have several role models who actually we don't interact with, but when I see how they're progressing career-wise, the kind of life they live, then I want to emulate them. I want to be like them. So those can also influence you as a person. So for the young girls, there's so many mentorship programs. Like for example, at the Institution of Engineers of Kenya, we have rolled out several mentorship programs. We have a Future Leaders Committee. So Future Leaders, we target those who are in school specifically, and we mentor them. We help them navigate through their engineering studies, and when they graduate, we really mentor them and hold their hand and help them to navigate through their careers, help them get internship, help them get attachment, help them to network with other engineers in the fraternity. And also, we have other programs, like when I was chairperson, Women Engineers Committee at the Institution of Kenya, I rolled out a She for She mentorship program. So what She for She mentorship program is all about, we get a seasoned female engineer like myself, then I'm paired with a young engineer who's just graduated or a student in high school. Because of my experience and my influence, I'm able to mentor that young engineer. Maybe she's looking for an internship, maybe she wants to get registered. When it comes to registration is extremely important for an engineer. When you get registered, then you're able to use that prefix ENG, so Engineer Florah Kamanja. Then what it means you've actually been examined, you've been interviewed, you've demonstrated that you can use your engineering skills to solve a problem. So when you have that title, then it means you've already been tested and proven. So we help young female engineers to get registered. We help them navigate their careers. We help them network. We equip them with soft skills, which In the universities, yes, there's some units on soft skills, but we still equip them with soft skills to be able to sell their product, to sell themselves, to make some good elevator pitches, source for financing for their projects. So it's a whole package. But just my advice to the young girls is look around for those people who can mentor you, whether it's spiritually, financially, career-wise. All those really help shape one's career.
So Flora, you've talked about the She for She program and a lot of mentorship programs. I'm assuming that by the time you thought of putting this together, there was a need in the market. So there are young engineers coming up. Have you, in your 18 years of a career in engineering, experienced issues that are unique to you as a woman, especially in STEM? And if so, what are they, and how have you been able to overcome them?
Thanks, Claire. When I got employed right after campus, I got employed in a technical organization, and the first challenge was we didn't have protective clothing for women. Most of them were tailored for men. The overalls were oversized, the safety shoes were oversized. But I have seen a lot of improvement with time, where organizations have been very deliberate to ensure that there is a conducive environment for female engineers to work. We've seen organizations coming up with policies that really promote women engineers, including equal employment opportunities for engineers. Like where I work, I've seen the number of female engineers who've been employed grow over time because of this deliberate effort by organizations. Where I work, we have now gone beyond just normal provision of protective clothing for engineers. We now even have lactation rooms within the proximity of power plants, just to ensure, even as women engineers are working those power plants, the environment is quite conducive for them. So some of the challenges that I have experienced throughout my career, or at the early stages of my career, the first one was, of course, unconscious or conscious bias. You know, engineering is a male-dominated field, and women engineers being very few. We are actually, Claire, only 14% out of the engineers registered with the Board of Kenya, which is about 25,000. We are only 14%. That is just 3,500. You can imagine we are still working in a very male-dominated field. So, of course, there's that feeling of, you know, being underrepresented or being underestimated. Sometimes there's this perception that maybe engineering is not a women thing. You're not hard enough to be a mechanical engineer. So sometimes you're given the soft work to do because you're not seen as being masculine enough to do the work as a mechanical engineer. But of course, this is slowly changing because women engineers have actually proven themselves that they can do the work as good as men do it, and probably even better. And of course, the women engineers have worked hard to prove themselves. And also, organizations now have put in place policies and measures to ensure that women engineers have an environment where they can thrive, where they don't feel underrepresented, where they don't feel undermined. So these policies have really shaped the women engineers' careers. And then the other challenge that is very common, probably not just to female engineers, but to all women, is imposter syndrome. I can't, I won't, I cannot apply for that chief engineer job because it's a men's thing anyway. I'm just a participant here in STEM, not to go for the big jobs. So imposter syndrome is very, very common. And for me, how I fight imposter syndrome is ensuring that I build competence, I hone my skills. I keep reading, keep learning, and really sharpening your skills and building that confidence. And the minute you build that confidence, if that challenge comes and you do it perfectly, then your self-confidence grows and you start getting rid of imposter syndrome. Also, mentorship is extremely important in fighting imposter syndrome, because sometimes you're an engineer, so which means you performed well in school and you've got the brains, but sometimes you just need that little push to propel you to the next level. It just needs someone to tell you, hey, Flora, you can do it, go for it. Then once you do it, your self-confidence starts growing, and then slowly you are able to fight this imposter syndrome. And again, organizations have really put in place measures and a very supportive environment where women engineers feel that they're given an equal opportunity as men to compete for those positions and to lead.
That's great. Now I'd like us to talk about what has been one of the toughest moments in your career, almost 2 decades of a career. What has been one of those toughest moments in your career, and how did you navigate it?
Thanks, Claire. I think my toughest moment in my career was, so before I became a council member at the Institution of Engineers of Kenya, this is an elective post, Claire. It's not just given to you. You have to campaign to get elected. So a friend of mine who's also an engineer approached me and asked me to vie for a council member position at the Institution of Engineers of Kenya. And I was like, why me? Why? No, I'm not a politician. I can't campaign. What do you mean? Where do I even start from? So he really pushed and he's like, Flora, you can do it. Go for it. And this is where I was saying mentors can really help you fight your imposter syndrome. They keep pushing you. You can do it. Go for it. Go for it. So I said, okay, fine. Let me give it a shot. So yeah, printed flyers, started campaigning, and I was like, wow, I can actually campaign. And let me surprise you, Claire, after elections, I think in that category I was number 1. So I think the toughest moment was, that deciding, I'm not a politician. No. But you see now, this is where mentors come in. Even in your toughest times, they help you make those decisions. And since then, I'm not even afraid to go for those elective posts, even higher posts anymore, because I did it and I made it. So that gave me that push to propel and challenge myself even further.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So that mentor can see something in you that you have not yet even seen. So it just gives you that extra nudge.
Yes.
Now I'd like us to talk a little bit about, you talked about registering in the board. It gives you that ENG.
Yes.
But sometimes people get hung up on titles. I'm an ENG, I'm a DR, I'm a, whatever it is. Other than that ENG, how would you explain to people, who are you? What do you stand for? Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Claire. And let me just start. That prefix ENG, for me as a woman engineer, really does wonders. The minute I introduce myself as Engineer Flora, I don't have to say anything else. I'm a qualified engineer. I've been tested and proven. So in a very male-dominated field like engineering, using that ENG is extremely important, because you assert authority even in a meeting room from the word go. Yeah, but in terms of who am I as Flora, Engineer Flora? Okay, so basically as an engineer and as a woman engineer in a very male-dominated field, first of all, based on my experience, I'm a mentor. I want to mentor the young ones who are dreaming of pursuing careers in STEM, and really, from my experience, help them navigate through to ensure that they have thriving careers like me, or even do better than me. But besides that, technically, I'm an energy planner. So in energy planning, what I do is we look at the power situation in the country, and we try match demand and supply and come up with projects that are actually going to meet that electricity demand, to ensure that we have stable and reliable and secure power for the country. I also do project appraisal. I'm a project appraisal expert. So what I do is assess viability of projects and taking the project through the entire life cycle, right from conception to feasibility study to financing, all the way to implementation. I'm also a nuclear power plant engineer, yeah, and I'm glad Kenya has made a decision to introduce the first nuclear power plant by the year 2034. And I'm involved in various activities. I'm in the committee where we are trying to identify a site for the nuclear power plant, and also the technology that you're going to use for the first nuclear power plant. Other than that, I promote sustainable energy solutions like renewable energy and nuclear power plant development.
Okay, I'd like you to speak a little bit more about that. Where are we as a country, in Kenya, when it comes to renewable energy sources? You've talked about the nuclear power plant that's in the works, but where are we as a country, and what more needs to be done?
Clearly, we are making very good strides when it comes to power generation from renewable energy sources. Currently, we are a market leader. Over 90% of the power generated in the country is from renewables. And when I talk about renewables here, I mean wind, solar, geothermal, and hydro. And our target is to achieve 100% power generation from renewables by 2030. And we are right on target. Kenya is blessed with a lot of renewable energy sources. We are at the equator, meaning we have long sun hours and the global irradiation is quite good. When it comes to wind energy potential, the northern part of Kenya, Marsabit actually has the best wind speeds in the world. Then geothermal, we have lots of geothermal potential estimated at 10,000 megawatts. And hydro, we have a couple of hydropower plants just to complement our renewable energy sources. So we are on the right path towards achieving our goal of 100% power generation from renewables by 2030. And as we integrate more and more renewable energy sources in the system, we have wind and solar. They are called intermittent energy sources, which means like now it's cloudy, the sun is covered by the clouds, so your generation will fluctuate. So to help manage the grid, we are coming up with innovative ways of integrating this variable renewable energy with technologies like battery energy storage that will help smoothen the output from these variable renewable energy sources, so that we can ensure that our grid is stable. We're also looking at optimizing our existing assets, for example, the floating solar technology, where on our hydropower plant dams, we install solar panels to generate power without acquiring additional land. So it's optimizing the assets that we have. the various innovations that we are integrating into the energy mix just to ensure that we have safe, reliable, and secure power, and affordable also for the common mwananchi. Then when it comes to nuclear, nuclear is clean. It is not renewable, but it's a clean technology because nuclear does not emit greenhouse gases. So nuclear will play a very big role as the country progresses towards achieving carbon neutrality by 2050. And nuclear is, it will complement geothermal. It's base load, which means it runs throughout, which is comparable to geothermal. So nuclear then will play a very important role to complement geothermal and ensure that as the population grows, as the power demand grows, as the emerging technologies grow, emerging technologies, I mean the e-mobility, electric mobility, the use of e-vehicles, green hydrogen for production of green ammonia, and other emerging technologies, including e-cooking. So all these emerging technologies are geared towards achieving carbon neutrality or net zero by 2050. So the electricity demand then will keep rising, and we need to expand our power generation sources to ensure that we meet this increasing demand. So when it comes to nuclear, there's a lot of research and development ongoing because the current nuclear power plants are quite big in size. So for our grid in Kenya, our grid is quite small. Our installed capacity is just over 3,000, slightly over 3,000 megawatts. So which means if you are to bring in a nuclear power plant, it cannot be so big. Yeah, because the conventional nuclear power plants currently the size is about 1,000 megawatts. So you cannot install a 1,000 nuclear power plant in a 3,000 megawatt grid. So then the small modular reactors will really play a big role when it comes to helping in building the capacity for most countries in Africa where the grids are relatively small. So we'll be targeting the small nuclear reactors. Now, when it comes to safety of a nuclear power plant, so much has been done to try and reduce any safety-related risks, I mean accident. Currently, the generation 3 nuclear reactors, the probability of the nuclear core melting down, we are looking at 10 to the power -6. So the probability is very, very small. And also nuclear industry has incorporated the learnings from the past nuclear accident. So in terms of safety, I can assure you nuclear power plants are some of the safest technologies we have in the world.
I like the way you break it down. You should probably do lecturing if you're not already doing it. I can see the passion coming out because you've really broken it down in a simple way for people to understand. And it brings me to my next question when it comes to STEM. You know, we have the competency-based education system and the CBC. I'd like you to speak to, probably there's a lady watching there or a parent watching and they're thinking, should my child be going through the STEM way? They see there's an interest in the STEM route. What is that advice that you would give? Because this show, one of the aims of this show is to inspire. So another lady looking at you should say, oh, maybe I can see myself in Engineer Florah Kamanja. Maybe this is something I should be pursuing. So what would you say to that young lady or a parent who is thinking that their child, that's where their gifting is?
Thank you, Claire. Let me first start by saying all careers are important, whether it's engineering, whether it's accounting, whether it's finance, all careers are important and they are needed. But for engineering, engineering engineers provide engineering solutions. Okay, and clear some of the top-notch CEOs are actually engineers. Yeah, so that tells you something. But then, so a career in engineering, first of all, you have to be good in science and math. And we can't all be good in science and mathematics for sure, right? But for sure, those who want to pursue engineering, then you have to be good in science and mathematics. And going forward, we want, as an industry advisor to Jomo Kenyatta Agriculture of Energy and Technology, Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, is really to also equip our engineers with entrepreneurship skills so that they can be solution providers, because as engineers we need to provide solutions. Clear the unemployment rate in Kenya and globally is quite high. Then what do we do to ensure, because we all can't get employed, we need to be job creators as engineers. So then we need to equip our students with entrepreneurship skills so that when they graduate, we have some getting employed, others being job creators by providing those engineering solutions. So I think engineering as a career is important, and we need engineers who can provide solutions, engineering solutions, and also to be job creators at the end of the day.
Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about this work-life balance, work-life integration. Being a male-dominated area, it's a critical area. How have you been able to balance the two or integrate it? And what are some of the challenges you've faced, and how have you been able to navigate it so that you are giving to your career, so that you've been able to rise to where you are, but you're also not neglecting your personal life?
Thanks, Claire. It's usually a delicate balance, but I believe for me to have a very good balance between my professional life and also personal life, when I look at my profession and how I handle my professional life, number one, I believe in having a very competent team to start with. Then how do you ensure that you have a competent team? Make sure they're trained well and they keep sharpening their skills. So if you have a competent team, then they are able to work efficiently and faster and not to overly consult. So the work moves faster and you're able to achieve the departmental goals. So that's number one. So personally, I do not like carrying work home. So I try as much as possible to work within the working hours. Then when I go home, it's time for my family, and also try to keep my phone away, because I'll be tempted to open Outlook and start checking emails at night. So my phone is always away so that I can also focus. So in whatever I'm doing, whether it's in the office, I give it my 100%. At home with my family, I give it 100%. And mentors also come in just to help you balance your professional and your personal life. Because sometimes, Claire, you can feel overwhelmed, you want to consult, well, maybe you don't want to consult your boss, you don't want to consult your peers, but there's that mentor out there who you can consult and really get guidance. And then I enjoy my me time. I like going to the gym. I think the gym is just one way of distressing, and really it gives me energy and that resilience to carry on. And of course, lastly, life is full of challenges. I mean, you have to face challenges one time or the other. So I believe in really praying and getting guidance from God. I'm very spiritual, so in those times when I face challenges, I turn to God for guidance.
Okay, thanks for that. Now we want to switch gears and know a little bit more about you outside the professional sphere. You've talked about working out. What kind of workouts do you do?
I go to the gym. I do CrossFit. CrossFit is an intense whole body workout for less than an hour. I do run. I like dancing. And I just like hanging out with friends. I like reading as well. I read self-improvement books. I like reading the Bible. Apparently the Bible has so much that one can learn from. Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, what's your favorite self-help book?
My favorite book so far?
Yeah.
The Alchemist.
Yes. Paulo Coelho.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Other than the gym, hang out with friends, me time, what other things do you do for fun?
I can't say I like hiking, but I hike. I hike at times, and of course, even mentorship can actually be fun. Like sometimes we go to mentor girls in high schools and in primary schools. So we try to make it fun at the same time, impart some, experience, knowledge, and really share with the young girls.
Yeah. You keep on talking about this mentorship. It's obviously played a very critical role in your life. Have you had reverse mentorship, and how has that looked like?
Yes. Thanks, Claire, and thanks for that. Claire, I'm a millennial, so which means then I'm tech savvy, but I'm not as tech savvy as a Generation Z, right? So I have a reverse, because reverse mentoring is where you have the young ones mentoring older ones. So I actually have a mentor when it comes to matters technology. They mentor me on apps that, sometimes I have all these ideas and I want a digital app to solve that problem. And this is where now these young mentors come in, because they're more tech savvy than me and they're really good in technology. Yeah.
What app has your reverse mentor showed you that solving your problems and turning the ideas into reality?
It's actually work in progress. Even in engineering, like project management, you need apps that can make that work easier. Personal finance management, you can have an app that can make that work easier for you. So there are all these ideas just to solve problems, and this is where technology will come in. Even data analysis, engineering data, there's so much data that we collect from operations. Even just by operating a machine, there's so much data that is generated. What do you do with that data to help you come up with probably root cause analysis of a persistent problem in a factory or in a nuclear power plant? Technology comes in, AI comes in. Then how can you integrate all this to solve your problems, whether the engineering problems or finance problems or just everyday problems? And technology will play a very key role. And as an industry advisor to Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, one other area we are focusing on is to ensure our engineers are tech savvy. I mean, they can use technology to solve engineering solutions. We are headed towards fourth industrial revolution, then which means AI technology is here with us. How can we use this technology to make our work easier and to provide solutions and to be job creators? So that's another area we are looking at, to ensure that our engineers are actually equipped and ready for the world. And by the way, Claire, just last week we are celebrating as engineers. We got recognition. It's called Washington Accord. Yeah. So then, which means our engineers will now be able to work globally. So our engineering degrees will be recognized internationally. So you can work in the States, you can work in Canada without the need for retraining. So which is good for mobility of our engineers. So you're going to be more marketable, yeah, because now engineering degrees will be recognized globally. So it's a big deal for us, and we are really celebrating because this is a huge milestone, and this should also inspire the young ones who are aspiring careers in engineering. So the future is bright. They can work here, they can work globally.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
And as we come to a conclusion, maybe just expounding on that AI, what role do you see AI playing in the engineering field in the next 5 years? What one thing do you see AI changing?
Thanks, Claire. From my experience, having been in the industry for many years, AI for me will come in, especially when it comes to data analysis. There's so much engineering data that we collect every single day. Then how can we use AI to deduce some innovations that need to be carried out, process improvements to make that assembly line work faster with less defects? How can we use AI to ensure that we improve our processes just based on the data that is being recorded from operations? So I see AI playing a very critical role when it comes to root cause analysis, process improvement, and also even coming up with innovative solutions for innovative engineering solutions.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Now, as we start to wrap up, what does success mean to Flora?
What does success means to me? Success is, for me, success is, making impact in whatever I do. In my role as an energy planner, as a project appraisal expert, as a manager in charge of capital projects in Kenya, success to me means rolling out projects that eventually will contribute to affordability of power to the common mwananchi. That was success means to me from a technical perspective. As a person, success to me would be my role in helping the young generation, and especially those who want to pursue careers in STEM, helping them navigate their journey, providing a platform like She4She program where we can actually help them navigate through their careers. So for me, that is success. Doing the little things, like as Professor Ngari Mathai said, it's the little things you do that make a difference. So those little things, in my sphere of influence, those little things, mentoring the young ones, inspiring them, ensuring that we have power that is affordable, competitive, and clean in the country, ensuring we don't have blackout, ensuring I come up with innovative ways in the power generation field, innovative ways as a leader in the engineering fraternity. How do we ensure, like, this global recognition of engineers? It's really a big deal. It's a huge milestone. So this is what success means: progressiveness, yeah, from hitting one milestone to the next. That's how I can define success.
Awesome. Now, as we close, I'd like you to look into the camera and talk to that lady, that young lady who's coming up, if she's in STEM or in any other career field. What is that one piece of advice that you would give her about, navigating a male-dominated sphere or career, and how do you just make it to the top?
Okay. Girls, Number one, my advice would be you have to work hard. There's no shortcuts. You have to work hard and excel in your studies. You have to work hard and excel in your career. Let your hard work speak for you. Then secondly, have mentors. Like if you've listened to my story, mentors play a very key role, and especially in a very male-dominated field like engineering or any STEM career. So have mentors who are going to guide you through your career. Have spiritual mentors, have reverse mentors, have role models that you can look up to, so they'll help you shape your career journey. Then thirdly, build your competence. Keep reading, keep refining your skills so that you can be that subject matter expert. Then also network. Participate in conferences, webinars, participate in workshops, participate in social gatherings. Make sure you network as much as possible, because this is where you probably get your internship, your attachment, you get a job, and also you're able to pitch your ideas to those engineers already practicing, and they can pick up your idea and help you start up your company. Then also stand out from the crowd. What do I mean by standing out from the crowd? In everything that you do it with a touch of excellence. It doesn't matter at what level, whether you are a manager or whether you're just a team player. Every single task that you do it with a touch of excellence. Be dependable and make sure you're visible. And visibility comes by giving your best shot. Yeah. Do that work with a touch of excellence so that you can be visible and stand out from the crowd. And lastly, of course, when there are challenges, turn to God for guidance.
Awesome. You've heard it from Engineer Florah Kamanja. Do everything you do with a touch of excellence, and there is no otherwise but you must work hard. This has been She Means Business. I have been your host, Claire Munde. Until next time, have a good one.